If you want to join the convo, it's 844-305-ANDY. I'm live from Miami. Let's talk to Z. Hey, Z, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for calling. What's going on?
Okay, so male listener, big fan of yours, by the way.
Thank you.
I wanted to know if I'm being a jerk or not to my fiance.
Okay.
And maybe you can give me the female perspective on this.
Sure.
So my fiance and I, we've been happily engaged for a year and a half. We're planning our wedding. Everything's super good. We planned a family-only wedding to keep it small and tight and super intimate. But my best friend happens to be in town, and we live very far apart from one another, talk every day. And he happens to be in town for the dates of our wedding.
Okay.
I brought it up. It was an issue, and I want to know if I'm being the jerk or not by saying it's not a big deal to have my best friend at our wedding.
And what was her point of view? Just like, well, if we invite him, then my friends are going to get upset.
Well, she basically said we agreed to family only. My inkling is that, and she doesn't have someone as close to her as I do with my best friend, which is something that kind of we've talked about in the past. Like, just, you know, I know it's keeping those long-lasting relationships a little bit tougher for her. So I feel like part of it is that, but I don't want to say like, oh, it's insecurity or jealousy. But am I being, like, my question is, am I being selfish in wanting there regardless?
No, I don't. I definitely see both sides, but I don't think you're being selfish. If I were in your shoes, I would do the same thing. I'd be like, hey, you know, I know it's family only, but this person is like my family to me, and they're, you know, it just happens to work out this way. Would it be okay? I would totally do the same thing. So I don't think you're wrong for asking, but I also think she's valid in, you know, saying that you know, you guys had agreed and whatnot, and you are probably right. It probably does bring up some insecurities in her if she doesn't have anybody who's as close. Because I was going to say an easy answer or an easy option would be like, well, you know, why don't we just have one of your best friends come and then we'll be done, and then it's kind of like even or whatever. But if she doesn't have someone who immediately comes to mind for like best friend that is almost family, I understand why she is kind of like feeling weird about the situation. So in conclusion, I really don't think that you're wrong for that. It's just, you know, how you work through it as a couple. It kind of depends on where her head's at now.
Real question. Do I make a bigger deal about it? Is the real question.
Does she have someone who could kind of like pass as...
That's the problem, right?
She doesn't really.
She doesn't, right? So like he's been my best friend for 10 years. We talk every day on the phone. He lives in Boston. I live in LA. So it's kind of a very different relationship, right? And so I kind of, you know, it's a tough thing to navigate. And I'm kind of springing on it last minute a little bit, but I'm also like, I didn't plan it, but he's here. So we should definitely, it's tough for me to kind of.
No, listen, I
want to fight about it, but.
I will be honest with you. I kind of think she should let him. I mean, I don't kind of, like, in my opinion, she should absolutely let him come. Like, I am someone who takes my friendships very seriously. And if this just happened to work out, I would be kind of upset that my fiance didn't just say, oh, let him come. Who cares? Like, whatever. And also, like, I would want my fiance to exhibit some self-awareness and be like, okay, well, I just don't have anybody like that, so it doesn't matter, you know, so it's fine. It doesn't, you know, it's also your wedding. Like, it should be a time of love and like compromise and acceptance. And I just don't think it's that big a deal, in my opinion. What about, I'm trying to think of other compromises. Like, could he maybe just come to the reception? Would she be down with that? Or would that be a good compromise?
I think that's a good idea. I think I'm a little bit like my heels are dug in to a certain extent in that, like,
and I get that.
I'm like, I want him there, and like that shouldn't be a problem to me. But again,
I don't think it is. You're really not being crazy. Like, again, I see her side, but I think you're probably right. It's more out of insecurity than anything else. And I you know, look, it's your wedding. He's your best friend. Like, this is a close person to you, and he's Yeah. I mean, listen, I don't think you're crazy. I completely understand where you're coming from. And if I were you and in your shoes, I would probably do the same thing. And I'd probably be like, look, babe, like, I love you so much, but like, it's really important for him to be there. And can you do this for me? Because it would mean a lot to have him there just because he's in town and I never get to see him and, whatever. And if she still doesn't say yes, then I would say, well, can he at least come to the reception because he's in town, and it would be kind of insane not to invite him. And you can kind of like lead her to the discussion and you can kind of lead her and be like, if there was one person that you wanted to invite, I would be cool with that too, of course. And then she's going to be like, oh, I don't have anyone. And then you're going to be like, yeah, that's the point, obviously. Not that you want to get into a fight with your fiance.
I can't say.
Yeah.
I can't say that. But I can say, like, I think what I've gotten out of this conversation is I can probably take more of an emotional approach and be like, can you please do this for me? And maybe if I take that approach instead of anger, that's probably a better route than
100%. Be like, I think that's definitely the tack to take, and to say this is so important to me, and again, reiterate, make her feel special, and be like, look, this is such an important moment for me as I'm marrying you, the love of my life, and it's my wedding as well, and just it would mean so much to me if he could be there, and you could do this for me.
I like that plan. It's a good plan.
Z, listen, good luck. If you want to call us back and let us know what happened next week, you know where to find me, but I'm wishing you good luck. And again, I think you're not being crazy. So I hope it goes well. And I hope your best friend gets to come to your wedding.
No, thank you. Bye.
Good luck. All right. Lots of love. Bye. Oh, sweet Z. Yeah. I honestly, that's so crazy to me because I think in life, you just can't be stubborn, and also you can't be not self-aware. I really think self-awareness is such a key. Self-awareness is so important, and where it's really important also is in relationships. It makes you a stronger partner if you're aware of who you are as a person and your insecurities. I know my insecurities. I know how they make me act sometime in a relationship. And, I know I act very, I can be very cold sometimes in relationships because I have my guard up. And that's something I think about all the time when I'm getting into something with someone new, because I know that's kind of just an issue that I have. Right. And I think it's so good to examine yourself. But poor Z, what a sweetheart. I hope he gets to come. All right, let's talk to Morgan. What's up, Morgan? How are you?
Hi. Oh my God, I can't believe I got through.
Thanks for calling.
Yeah. Okay, so I have a recent story that happened this week that I had to tell you because I used your playbook and I was like, Tinx would be so proud. But I also have had the worst year of my life, and I've thought about calling in so many times. And I'll give you a little background so you understand the gravity of this last situation. So also need a little word of encouragement just to kind of, I've kind of had it, been at my wit's end. But so I'll just give you a little background. I'll try not to take too much time. But, at the beginning of this year, I was in a situationship for about 2 years. The most recent stint was 7 months. And then that kind of hit my point. I was like, ultimatum, you're in or you're out. I'm not your, mistress. And then 2 days later, my mom actually passed away unexpectedly. Very unexpectedly, in the middle of the night. And obviously that's a really tough situation to be
Morgan,
in.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
I'm so deeply sorry.
Yeah.
That's awful.
But the situationship, obviously, we weren't speaking, and then kind of turned around and he was like, I'm all in. I want to be in a relationship. I want to be your boyfriend. He came to my mom's funeral, met my whole family. Everything was really fine and dandy for about 3 months. And then he ghosted me. Kind of had a meltdown situation, came over to my house, and then I just didn't hear from him for about a month. And it was so traumatic after, having this other traumatic thing
horrific.
Happen and losing
what
another.
Did he say? What did he say when you said he came over? Did he come over to break up with you, or was he just freaking out? What did he say when he came over?
Yeah, it was just that he couldn't handle what was going on. He wasn't able to support me. He was like, I'm not sure if I'm just dating you because your mom died. And he he was so spiraling, like he couldn't even tell me what he liked about me, and like we've been in a situation for 2 years.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. That is so unbelievably cruel and selfish, and I literally wish only bad things on him. No offense, but like, what a fucking jerk. I'm so sorry.
That's basically what I told him. And, you know, from that situation, like, he's not a good person. He's not someone I would even be friends with or associate with. Like, the capacity to do that to someone is unbelievable.
It's horrific.
Yeah, after that, you know, I was in my healing girl era. I went away for a month. I really just, like, focused on my friends and family. I saw a few witches. I'm pretty witchy.
I love that.
You know, getting spiritual, and they were just like, you know, let things come to you. So, like, I was very much, like, I was on Hinge, but I wasn't really searching. And so, you know, things weren't going well dating-wise, but that was okay. And then 3 months after our breakup, my ex's, one of his parents died. And that was also traumatic for me because I was like, oh my God, what are the odds? You know, I just went through this with him. Now I, you know, can't be with him, and it's like this whole thing. But so that was a really rough period. And then this is where I can kind of get into the story that happened this week, but I rekindled with like an ex fling that I had, you know, a year and a half ago. And he was this great guy, like, 6'4", you know, really successful, super mature, intellectually stimulating. I was like, woohoo. And we kind of stopped talking because he had moved, and he was back in town and asked me to get dinner. And I was like, absolutely. So I went to dinner with him, and, you know, we chatted, and we had this amazing dinner. It was like one of those days I came back, I was like kicking my feet. I was like, oh, like, he asked me about my mom, you know, how I was doing, and just seemed really good. And it was such a 180 from my experience with like my ex, who like only had a few brain cells. This guy was like, wow, like, you know, can actually talk to. So we just kind of chatted, but he still lives, you know, he lives across the country. And then a week later, I got a text from him, and it was like, hey, this might sound random, but I have an extra seat on my trip to Mexico next week. Like, can I fly you out, and would you want to join me and my friends for 6 days in Mexico? And I literally thought Tinx would say yes. Like,
yeah, good. I'm so glad you went.
Yeah, so we went on the 6-day trip to Mexico, and literally we were in love. Like, we were obsessed with each other. His best friends were there. It was amazing. Like, I literally thought I was going to walk away with a husband. Yeah. And then towards the end of the trip, I kind of was like, like, what are we doing? Like, am I going to see you
Talk
again?
fast, babe. We have 4 minutes. Talk fast, please. Okay. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. So yeah, we didn't really, like, he wasn't really in a place to have a relationship. So I was like, we'll see. So I just, you know, we'll see. I took it as a really great trip to Mexico, and, you know, we've been staying in touch. So we had plans to see each other next week and in a couple of months. And he's been in my city a few times, and we have dinner. But yesterday I went to dinner with a friend, and she was like, Claire, I have some news for you. And, I was like, oh, what is that? And she goes, this guy that you've been seeing, he's also dating my other friend. And I know this other friend. We're mutually best friends. We went to the same high school, same college. And he had been flying her out to see him. He literally, like, narcissist, love bomber. Like, I called this girl. We FaceTimed. We compared texts. He says the same things. Like, you know. I'm in awe of you. I miss those eyes. You know,
disgusting.
I see this and this together. So he was supposed to be there this weekend to see her, and I was supposed to see him next week. So I told this girl, I was like, listen, we have an opportunity here to ruin him, and we should do it. So we put him in a group chat with the two of us, and she texted and was like, hey, like, let me know what flights you book. Like, so excited to see you. I was just talking to Morgan on the phone, and it'd be so great if she could join us. And I responded, like, yeah, let me know what your flights are. Like, would love to coordinate. Like, so excited to see you all. What is most crazy about this is he responded with heard loud and clear and the salute emoji. And we were like, what the heck?
God.
Crazy person.
What a fucking ass. Literally, what an ass. Oh my God. That, not an ounce of remorse. That's literally, my blood is actually boiling.
Yes. And he sent a GIF. We sent a GIF, like a slamming the door GIF. He responded with a GIF and was like, don't want bad blood with either of you. And we were like, what a crazy person. He's probably like, on to his next roster pick, but it was disgusting. I finished the chat with an article to teenshealth.org on how to use a male condom because maybe he can read and be a little more educated for his next victim.
Babe, I have less than a minute to wrap the show, but I need to tell you, I am so deeply sorry for what you went through, and I think you handled that exactly the right way. I know it's hard to keep the faith, but I promise you good things are coming, and I'm so sorry for what you've had to endure. I really am. I really want all good things for you. I'm thinking of you. I love you. You're very strong, and good times are coming. And fuck that guy, and fuck your nasty ex too. I love you.
Thank you. I love you.
Bye. Oh, poor sweet angel. How much can one poor person endure? Seriously. You guys, I have to wrap the show. I love you. I have missed you. I will be back here on Friday. Until then, bye.